Give me a minute and let's talk about how bad it has gotten on the Polish border once again, to the point where essentially the Polish border is sealed. Nobody's getting in, nobody's getting out, and it's a real problem. Today, Polish protesters emptied the grain from cars, from train cars that were transiting through Poland into Germany with the grain. The grain wasn't even destined for the Polish market. It wasn't even going to be competition for the Polish farmers. And yet the Polish farmers are dumping it. The Polish farmers are dumping it. The Polish truckers are blocking access. And a group that's basically the NRA for Poland, the Hunters Alliance or something like that, has joined the fight too. Now, that to me is extremely suspicious. Because if we think back on the protests in the United States that we know were Kremlin funded, that were Kremlin backed, and fueled by Kremlin disinformation, both in the United States and Canada, they were farmer and trucker related. And of course, the NRA in the United States was subverted by the Russians. So it looks to me like the same kind of three-pronged attack. And when you look at the vehement anti-Ukrainian sentiment among these people, with billboards and placards that say things like, this is Poland, not Brussels. We don't care about Ukraine. You don't care about Ukraine. If Ukraine falls, where do you think the Russians are going next? You ought to care. You ought to care. Ole Nikolenko, who's with the Foreign Ministry of Ukraine, said that the closing of the border, which is also the border to the EU, is unconscionable. And he's right. I don't know who's behind this protest. I think probably some sectors of Polish industry have legitimate concerns about what's happening. But this has all the earmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign fueling internal strife in a good friend to Ukraine.